Hello, second semester students from KEA. I'm going to show something about cookies. What you have until now is a site where you can log in, and it saves the user data in sessions. So I have, for example, a user called Julio with a password something, and I can log in. I can then the navigation changes, and I can log out. If there's another user defined, and there's Alan, for example, with a password, and then Alan can log in. And the good thing about this login system is that it remembers that we are logged in, and it remembers it in session variables. The new thing that we're going to work with is to store data in cookies also. So besides using sessions, we can use cookies. Sessions, they are alive, or they exist as long as the browser is opened. When we close the browser, the session will expire. But we can also, as you see, force the session to end by pressing log out. Then we destroy the session and we unset it. So now the sessions are gone and the navigation has changed. Okay, if we look at our database, we see that there is a members table. We see it up here in the panel. I have a test table, or database, sorry, with a members table. The table has the columns ID, first underscore name, last underscore name, email, image, PW for the password. It is encrypted with SHA-1, and the registration date. So we can see that there are two users. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add or implement a cookie. So a cookie is more persistent than a session, and a cookie is a text file that is saved on the user's machine, or the browser saves it in the user's machine. Sessions, they are saved on the web server. So this is admin.php, and we also have login.php. We look at login.php, you should be able to recognize the sessions that are set in this section. As you can see, there is a query to the database, and it says if the row equals to something is true, meaning if it can fetch a row, and it can do it if there's a match, then we know this is a valid user, and then we can save some data in the session variables. So we generate a session variable with session ID and grab the ID from the row, meaning from the database. Make a session name and grab the first name from the database. A session image and grab the image file name from the database, and a session email and grab that value from the database. So these session variables, they will be set here, and they can be used as long as the user has the browser opened. So even if the user leaves or make another panel and come back to this site, the sessions will still exist. Besides making the session, you have seen that there's a header where we redirect the browser to a location that is one step back and then to the admin.php because it is a valid user. So in this place we make the sessions, meaning that it is a valid user, and then where will we then place or define the cookies? Well, it will be in the same place. If it is a valid user to make a session, then it's also a valid user to set a cookie. The way a cookie is set is by saying, first, before making it, I want to make a control structure, an if-else statement. So the if-else statement goes like this. This is the structure. If something is true, do the first block, else do the next block. And what we're going to do here is that if there is a session, then, if there is a cookie of a certain name, then it should count up the number of visits. If there's not, then it should start the cookie. So the condition is if is set, and then to parentheses, and then inside what should be set, $_cookie, and we're going to ask for a cookie that we're going to make, and it's going to be called visits because we're going to count the amount of visits. So if it exists, then here count value up, else down here set the cookie. We'll start in this else part here because so if the cookie is not set, then we're going to set it because the user has just logged in. We are here in a valid user that is logged in. So then we can say set cookie, and this function takes several parameters. It takes, for example, the name of the cookie that we are going to define or to set. It takes its value. So if there is no cookie set, then we will start counting from 1. So visits, the cookie visits, will have the value 1. After the value, we can set an expiration date or time. Time will take the time of the server, and then we can add, for example, 60 by 60 seconds, by 60 minutes, by 24 hours, by 30 days. That would be about a month. So an expiration date of the time of now plus then a number of seconds that corresponds to a month. And then something that is important is the path, or where is that cookie going to be saved in the user's machine. And / means the root, at the very root of the website, of the website. So now we have actually set the cookie. We will come back to count it up later. It means that this is the login PHP. This one redirects the user to the admin page, or if it's a wrong login, to the login page again with a rejected get variable. After the question mark, we see there's a get variable, rejected. And if there's somebody arrives here without having set the login form, so if this is set, do all this, else, meaning if it's not set, will redirect the user to the login page again. people shouldn't be able to run this script if they don't come from the login page. So here we are setting the cookie and giving it the value of 1. This is the value. So let's make it. Let's display it. If the user logs in correctly, will be directed to admin.php. So I will go to admin.php, meaning that this page is the one that is going to will access the admin area. So from here, this page will have access to our cookie. So if we make a num visits, for example, if we make a variable that is going to read the cookie. So the cookie has a name, and the name is visits. So this will take the value of the cookie with the name visits. Then we can display it down here. So you have logged in, and then we'll say, then we make a PHP block because we are going to display the value of the cookie. We're going to display num_visits. So in order to display it, and it's PHP, we need to dig into PHP and say echo $num_visits, semicolon. You have logged in so many times. Okay, so let's test it. So I can try to log in here, and my username is Julio, my password, and you see that it displays the value 1. I can log out, and I can log in again. Like this, and it always displays the same value. It's because we're not counting the value up. Another thing that we'll see is that no, we'll wait with that. So let's have a look. So the login page is the one that sets the sessions, but it's also here where we actually set the cookie. So if this cookie is set, we should then count it up. So the way we count it up is we can copy and paste the same thing here, because what we're going to do is that we're going to change the value. So we are going to define it, the cookie with the name visits, and then give it, take the existing value. So the existing value is actually the cookie itself here, plus 1. So the value of the cookie when it is set will be the value that we have from the cookie plus 1. And then we will set an expiration date, again renew it. So let's save this and go back and say 1, 2, 3, like that. And now you see that it counts up because it's already set. So if I log out and I go log in again, like this, it counts up. But what if Alan is going to log in? Alan is another user and submits, and it says that Alan has been logged in 4 times, and it's because it is the same computer, we were using the same browser, and the cookie is saved in my machine. We can say, okay, we can live with this because we might be very good friends, we share machines, so we share the cookies. So it's like the same user. But since it is a login system, we could change this. So before we do that, I will go to the inspector. So find the inspector and find the one called application, because here it shows in the cookies, and we see there's a cookie with the name visits that now has the value 4. And it is the same cookie that is used for no matter who is logged in. So instead of calling visits, this could be a trick of calling it the username. So let's try that. So if it's set, and then here we'll then need to not add or define this cookie, but we're going to define the one that has the first name, for example. Because if I am logged in, this will be my name. If Alan is logged in, this will be Alan's name. So we will create a cookie with my name and a cookie with Alan's name. So in order to do that, we see we are creating a session with called name. So that one we can use, because we then can make a variable here. $name equals like this, because then we can use $name for the cookie. So we will look for $name in the cookie. If it is set, we'll take that cookie with this name, $name, and count up the cookie with the $name plus 1 here. And the same thing here, instead of visits, the cookie will be named Julio if I am logged in, or Alan if Alan is logged in. So let's have a look. I'm saving this. I'm going back to my browser and logging out. You see we have a cookie called visit with a value 4. Now when I log in, Julio, and log in, say submit, and go to my cookies, we'll see there is a cookie with the name Julio that has the value 1. I can log out, and I can log in again. So, and it says I'm logged in 4 times. There's something wrong in my script. So this is the admin page. It could be that I didn't change the admin page. Sorry for that. Yes, exactly. It's still looking for the cookie with the name visits. So, and the one we want to use is actually the name, and we have in this case we have it in the session name, and it saves as $name. So I forgot to change this also, $name. So number of visits will refer to the cookie with $name. $name is saved in the session variable, and it is the user that is logged in. So now it should display the right thing. I save and then refresh the page like that. So now Julio is logged in 2 times, so it's not reading the visits. It was wrong, so it needed a correction. I can log out, and if Alan then logs in, or let me log in again, sorry, with Julio. And now I'm logged in 3 times. There's no Alan cookie with the name of Alan, but I'm going to create that, because if I log in as Alan now, it will try to figure out whether it is a cookie with the name Alan, and if it's not, it will create it. So I'm going to submit this, and then go to the cookies, and you see now it created it and gave it the value 1. So we are in the else part here. If it is not set, the cookie with the name of Alan, then we'll set it and give it the value 1. If it is set, then it will start counting up, taking the value of the cookie with a certain name and add 1 to that. So it's +1. So let's have a look again. I can log out, and if Alan logs in again, this, go to the cookies, and you can see Alan has now logged in twice. So this is about saving data in cookies. There are some aspects about regulations, that if a website makes use of cookies, and you have seen that, the website need to ask for permissions. The user need to give permissions to save data in cookies. So that's it.